So let's talk about MVC. What is MVC? This is a very hard question to answer. At the very simplest level, MVC just means Model View Controller. But there's a lot of different interpretations on what MVC is. There's even some different disputes about should your view be able to directly communicate with your model, or should everything go through the controller? For this course, we're going to use the iOS view of MVC. We're going to talk about MVC, how it's actually implemented in iOS, and try to stick with that model as much as possible. But either way, whatever side of the debate about MVC and how it's implemented, there are some core concepts that I think that we can convey here that are going to apply no matter what your view on the whole topic is. And basically, at a very basic level, MVC is just a design pattern, and its goal is to separate the UI from the data and logic of your application. And so the controller is a piece that acts to be able to bind together this separated view, which is your UI, and this separated logic, which is your application. And an example that I'm going to use in this instance to communicate to you what MVC is a game console. In this picture below, you can see that I've got a portable game console here, and some things that we can see immediately just looking at this is you can see there's a screen that displays what's going on in the game, and you've got some buttons that you can press. And if we were to look at this deeper, we would see that underneath that screen, there's some hardware that's controlling the actual execution of the game and is interacting with the user, is controlling how the screen displays things, and is controlling what happens when you press a button in the game. And if we were to look and see what was driving that, we would see that there's a cartridge for the game, or some kind of medium that the game is on, that the logic and data from the game come from, and we'd see that that gets inserted into the system, and that the controller, the hardware of the game, reads from there in order to know what to display on the screen, and it writes to there or manipulates some of that logic that's in there in order to be able to perform the actions in the game, or to update the data in the game, and then read that back out. So if you think about that, that I think is a good example of an unintended MVC. It just naturally happens in the development of a gaming system, is that you have this view. The view is what the user interacts with. It's not just what you see, and I think this is a critical point, but it's what the user interacts with. You have this controller, which is the hardware, and you have this model, which is the game itself. So let's dive a little bit deeper into each one of these components.